Thousands of migrants and refugees settle in Australia every year and rebuild their lives. But when it comes to mental health, many people face barriers that make getting help harder. There are barriers built into the system, as well as barriers rooted in stigma and silence. Research shows that migrants and refugees access mental health services at lower rates. Why is this?
We know that for many people from migrant and refugee backgrounds, mental health is often not openly talked about. There is often limited understanding of what mental health is, how to recognise when someone is struggling, or where to go for help. This can lead to distress and, for many, not accessing support. The mental health system can feel like a maze, making it difficult for people to navigate or understand how the system works. Even when help is available, the use of unfamiliar terminology and Western approaches to treatment may not resonate or feel right for people from collective cultures, or those who express mental distress through physical symptoms. And there are settlement challenges that often take priority over mental health as more urgent needs demand attention. Then there's the barrier that's closer to home, shame and stigma.
So a lot of multicultural communities, the concept of mental health difficulties or mental illness comes with a lot of stigma and personal shame. As a result, a person or a family or community seeking mental health information or support is actually not done because it's shameful and embarrassing.
People don't understand what my mother is going through. They sometimes make fun of her or avoid her. It hurts to see her judged, and it only makes things worse for her.
How could I be so heartless leaving a husband who wasn't capable of looking after himself and no one to take care of him? That was the topic of conversation amongst people in my community. In the eyes of those people, a woman without a husband is like a house without a roof. There was no consideration for my mental health.
Understanding the layered and complex intersecting factors that come into play for people from migrant and refugee communities with mental health challenges is crucial. Intersectionality, lived experience, and co-design should be at the heart of all service providers. This will ensure the mental health system is culturally safe and responsive for all Victorians.
I tried a support group in the LGBTQIA+ community, thinking maybe that space would be different. But the moment I walked in, I knew I was an outsider. The conversations were filled with cultural references I didn't understand. And when I hesitated before introducing myself, still uncomfortable with saying gay out loud, someone joked, "You look terrified." "Don't worry, we don't bite." The room burst into laughter, but I felt like I was disappearing all over again.
A lot of multicultural people often prefer to see someone with a similar or the same cultural background simply because it just saves time and it's easy. You don't have to explain your entire cultural history and all these really hidden social rules that often come with culture, and really focus on getting better straight away. The concept of cultural humility, or as I would like to call it, cultural curiosity in a way, it just means and promotes the practitioner or the professional to be curious and also humble in the way that they approach their understanding with culture, really understand their own bias, their own cultural understanding and whether it's limited, and getting that curiosity to understand how culture might impact on a person's mental health, not only for that person but also within the family structures or the community structure itself. So that's why the concept of cultural humility is absolutely critical, because it's not just about being respectful, it's about being effective.
Evidence tells us that people from migrant and refugee backgrounds are only reaching out to services when it is too late and they are already in crisis. This is compounded by the fact that carers and frontline staff are burning out. Their load is heavy and they need support too.
So burnout is the emotional exhaustion that comes from when a clinician or a professional manages someone else's pain but doesn't necessarily hold space to process their own. In order to prevent burnout, we don't just need self-care, we also need system care.
We need to honour every voice and every experience in order to create a mental health service that can care for and heal every Victorian. Healing starts with understanding, strength starts with inclusion.